some more supplies along the way. There's no rush, not at the moment. They know they're going to be at the back of the queue kind of anyway, so it's not ideal to overcommit to going fast when you know that it's really not going to pay off. It's very unlikely that teams are moving ahead of you anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because let me just talk about the Kameshki split a little bit more. Is that like Lipovka split where you play maybe 2 in Lipovka and then send a couple out towards Mansion? That's much more punishable as well. Whereas Kameshki, there's not really many teams that could have punished you over towards that position of map. There's a lot easier positions, you know, from Milta, Western Shelter, even Yasnaya to make a split off from the rescue team to try and catch out 1 or 2 players playing around Mansion or Heaven, trying to watch and guard out from Lipovka. Yeah, that doesn't really happen in Kameshki. So that's something that Alter Ego probably have to watch out for a little bit more. Most teams have started to make their way over towards the west now, though. Wolves getting in nice and early. I think Wolves realize that they need to get a bit of a move on right now. Currently in 3 points in 13th. Very, very unideal, especially for a team that started in the gauntlet. This doesn't look promising. Still only 2 matches. There is still time. But when you've got teams like 9Z as well as IC currently on almost 40 points apiece after 2 matches, you know, those top 3 spots are starting to look pretty unattainable.
Yeah, it's not super friendly right now, but you know, it's still very much early days. We are only into match number 3, Blank. We've only seen 2 games go under the belt, and a lot of those points for Inner Circle specifically were earned in 1 match. The same is true for 9Z as well. It is just sort of one big match, top of the tables right now. Teams, for a lot of them. We'll see who can keep up the pace. OG, they move in. They're making their rotate near Falcons, near D+, but both of those teams are on outposts. They're on 2-2 splits or don't have a full lineup to go for it immediately, and they're not taking shots out that way just yet either.
No reason to right now. You're kind of waiting for zone 2 anyway. Especially only 1 minute left on the next shift. I think for a lot of teams at this point in time, not advisable to be looking for engagements. Kind of waiting for that big migrate on zone 2, and then you can start looking for fights to try and break position on the map. APG though, they kind of did what I said. They took a slightly longer, but didn't really matter all that much. They're already towards a pretty fantastic spot on the map right now. I think Doc does have an eye in over towards OG currently, and I think
they're taking shots.
Decide.
They're looking to try and suppress that position. They're taking shots over towards the reject. We're taking shots over towards OG as well. And they did have to stop off. They're poking their noses towards that APG Southside compound, though. So maybe looking to cause trouble.
Get a good view of the map here. See what's next on the cards for us. Alter Ego a little bit slower to this one, but they can divert quite easily over towards Pattaya Hill and then towards the northwest. Around Everest, though, we're pretty much going towards a similar location. For APG, it's somewhat unfortunate for their early central start. They have a fair way to move. GS, though, quite happy the way this one plays out.
Yeah, they'll be able to move into that north side. The major feature, the major point of interest that is in this circle that really wasn't in the last one is Ruins. That Ruins area to the east of Everest is going to be, I'm sure, where GS are going to at least look to try and go. Some of the buildings around that area, teams are going to try and filter through. 9Z as well. Maybe they'll be able to get on over there because they're going for their classic, let's just go over the top and see what we can find their position. This south edge, though, across the fields, is going to get brutal. And Gen G eat first blood, and it's claws to go down.
Yeah, the wide wrap Kings in 9Z, it's been working out all right, to be honest. GS, though, like you said, did stop off over towards Castle and Ruins. Decent spots to play in going forward. Again, leaving Ruins is a little bit awkward, so I actually quite like OG's position, which is just east of Everest there, picking up the compounds in that area. I think you might have teams wanting to try and challenge for that spot at some point, but for the time being, I think most players are quite comfortable in their current positions. This is going to be a little bit more of a slow game. Also, OG flexing out towards top of Everest, trying to get some high ground control as well. Okay.
All right. You want to get an oversight? Fair enough. I mean, Everest, big feature in this zone. Alter Ego were playing towards it before, not fully on the top of it towards the end there, but it's a little bit more central this time around, and maybe will play well. Loops on the road. Alter Ego sending in towards some of those ruins positions too. They've already lost Alva. That's a flush from Falak.
Yeah, well played. I mean, he's flexed out from the rest of the squad. Just finds a quick pick off and will pick up the flush off the back of it as well. The guy is insane. Actually insane. Yeah, I think a lot of people understand why I usually say that Falak's probably one of my top 3 favorite players of all time. I think he was someone who really impressed me on his off-angle plays in the past and was one of the best to do it. And now again, showing off just how strong he can be here in the biggest international tournament of the year.
And what a time to do it as well. Looking really, really hot. Finger on the trigger, ready to go at a moment's notice. Drop of a hat. Reject, they're moving up on the west side, currently skirting around the west of Hospital. Currently Goats occupy that area, but they are going to divert further north than Goat's position and maybe challenge towards Everest here. I mean, this is very similar circle the last time around. The difference here, though, Blank, is that Wolves are in the compound that nobody went into last time around. You said they needed to move a little bit earlier. Maybe that's what they were looking for. An APG in their compound that ended up being a pretty convincingly winning compound in the last one. They'll take up occupation there.
I like that for Wolves. You know, they spectate the game. They're like, what could we do differently? Pick the open compound, perhaps. And so they're close to it now, so they just go for it. Understanding that it seems to not really be in the progress of a lot of other teams' routes in towards the circle there. So Wolves, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It is slightly on the western side, quite close to the edge of the circle, which is a bit worrisome. But it's playable. It's definitely playable towards the end game. Goat's finding Patino from Loops. Yeah, getting the same circle again is a weird one, right, John? Where you kind of make some adjustments to your last game, maybe patch up some holes in your playstyle.
I mean, it is absolutely, and given that teams were sort of all in very similar drop spots as well, it's got to play out maybe fairly similarly. But Falak's down, and that is bad news for Inner Circle fans. Looks like they are going to rally the troops, though, and it's just Krypton close by. Could potentially be more trouble around the corner, but at the moment, T24 just drawing attention. Yeah, they're going to be able to get this res. Rosemary moving into position, though. There's an off angle. He looks for it, and Snape gets the spray down as well. 2 players from Alter Ego able to line up the shots, and now Inner Circle have lost another player. This is a good little pickup for Alter Ego, working the ground around them.
I mean, they had a little bit of damage done to them earlier, but it's Wolves in a 4v4 with them and Reject, and it is going swimmingly well as Reject will hit the deck. Wolves retain all 4 players up, and that is a convincing finish there for them. In the meantime, Inner Circle are just getting battered and bruised by Alter Ego. Not happy with them taking down one of their players earlier in Alva.
No, they will do a hell of a lot more in response. T24 did manage to get away for Inner Circle, so Solo on the north side playing on. Wolves held the compounds against Reject. We saw that push coming through, that crash from Reject did not go their way. And what that meant is that Goat could not third party. OG couldn't extract elimination points. Both of those 2 teams playing up towards Everest, which is really good news for the Wolves. It means that it's much less likely that they're going to get third partied on an approach here now.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a big thing when it comes to big crashes, because we saw it even on that first game of the day, is where Paparazzi Supermassive just could not hold on the north side of Rondo because they dealt with the first 2 crashes. But if teams keep coming, then eventually things are going to start to get rough. Big shift over towards the north side. Keeps Everest in. Damn, goodness me. But APG get a central circle and prank no more. Dark with a lovely nade over towards T24. And that will sit APG at 2 eliminations, and they are looking to secure a position in that top 3 at the end of this game.
I mean, it's like the exact same circle. It's insane. We're going to exactly the same place, exactly the same finishes. Maybe a couple more teams on that north side and that lining that Everest side as well, which was, as you were talking about before, a bit of a major feature of that last game, right? That glut of teams moving in on the northeast, playing that area. That's a little bit more spread out here. So that's probably going to be the pace difference in this match. We'll see what can get done. OG still lining the top of Everest with Papa Supermassive trying to move in. But with APG down beneath them, taking shots, and with OG up the top, you don't imagine that's going to be super successful.
Stave just stood on top of Chips' position. Yeah, so that we'll find him. Let's get down off there. What are you doing? Get on the rooftops. They get damage. But for Alter Ego, it looks like it's starting to come to a little bit of a close here for them. I think it's tough rotates from here on out. For APG, though, they are just fully committed to the 4-man hold.
Ooh, the nade. It's just Krypton now, I believe, left for Alter Ego. As he keeps it on going, though, wants to get stuck into the fight. Null boot. Around the corner, does go down. Chips has an off angle. There's someone across the way, but Krypton finds the inside of the building. A little shack, but the Molotov burns the door away. A mad dash across, and Krypton's just juking him out right now. Osal hopping in with the auto shotty. The healing's there. He's looking for Snake, but no! He's beneath the boxes. A spin around. He got the heal off as well, but it's just Chips now on the inside. D+ have a nightmare sent their way, and GS can close them down here and now.
I mean, that predict on the Molotov was something serene in that moment. Love to see it. The fact that he's able to jump out there in time and then quickly get in cover and get the first aid off. I don't think D+ Kira is expecting that kind of resilience from a solo. GS now looking to finish off the players from D+ as they get out, but they've also got other concern, which is getting into the circle itself. 9Z moving over towards where APG were playing, hoping to take control back again of a position they held before.
APG's nades. Fending off against Team Secret and 9Z. Ooh, this is nasty stuff. Only 2 players alive for 9Z. Nade just a bit long there from top. Onto the 2 from 9Z. Won't quite be able to find it. Team Secret, I feel like their position is going to get weaker and weaker as fights around them conclude. They need to start pushing in and start gaining ground inside this building.
Look at the slight waste of grenades there coming through from APG. I think the first couple were fine, you know, just on the off chance you're able to hit something. What is Bomb doing on Tiamba? Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know why you thought as a solo that'd be a great place to try and live out the rest of the game. Is that one of the most contested areas on the map?
Hey, look, Aki's going to give it a go as well. In the meantime, though, Wolves flex out of their compound. They push up Everest. They crunch Goat. A lot of damage inflicted by Coops towards Goat, and it is going to leave Goat down now on 2 players. The job is done. Wolves regroup back down to the south. They know that with the circle shifting up north, their compound is going to be a prime target for taking for teams on the south side. I'm looking at Falcons.
If OG is just major oversight over towards the rest of the map right now. They've got a incredible Overwatch. This is a time for a team like OG to start picking up some big points off the back of this one. I think I like this flex out over towards the eastern side. Leaving WizGod behind to fend off the 2 players from Goat is a good idea. Not likely Goat's going to push, and these players on the east can start to take shots over towards GS or even the Falcons as they attempt to come on in.
Ooh, Ratto Boy wants to try and find the spray. Genji will look at a regroup, but they had to give one up. I think that's Tiamba out. Yes, it is. They will go down in 12th. No, Raptor Boy tries to shut the door behind him. Nice and polite, but that's not going to get you anywhere. Falcons and GS, though, are clashing heavily on this hilltop. At the moment, it's going both ways and taking knocks, and Falcons finally finding an advantage. But in rolls SO, he's down from across the way. It's a tanky taking the shot. The Falcons still alive. Only just for the blue zones here. And Redox desperately trying to heal it, and he can't get it done. The bandage is not fast enough. And that is 2 teams isolated with 1 spray down from a tanky.
Yeah, I mean, the easy stuff. And this is exactly what I was talking about, is that flex out towards the eastern side. It's the obvious choice, and it's well done. That clears a massive amount of space. Finally, Top is able to hit a disgusting grenade, so maybe not a waste after all. Just needed to find the right angle on it. Genji, your arms aren't that strong. I'm gonna be real with you. This is some unreasonably long lobbing distance.
Very ambitious. I like the spirit, you know? Unfortunately, that's not what counts. It's if you actually get the nade on in. That's what you're looking for. I mean, Team Secret, they believe them, though. That's the thing.
They really do. They're like, oh, it's a bit scary. Wait, maybe we could send one back. There's some okay nades. Good chip damage as well.
Molotov just goes a little bit long. They're not quite sinking them down.
Oh, it corrals them, though.
It does do that, yeah, you're right, and actually forces one of them out. That will be a nade range of Gen G. Maybe now they should have had the nades. Unfortunately, not to be. The nades keep sinking in, but the heal's coming through to keep them safe. There's shots. Who's that coming from? That's Wolves. Doran able to shut down Zyol, and they have to back it off. Seems like this compound makes teams think that they can peak when they shouldn't. Doc, learning from that last match, moves out to where we saw Rosemary flex out to last time.
Yeah, I mean, in that spot as well, your biggest issue is the fact that to get the airburst on where Team Secret's playing, you have to push far enough out to lob the grenade down. The only way you can do that was with a smoke, but then you're throwing the nade blind, so you have to kind of hope for it. And if you don't use the smoke, then Wolves have that angle from the western side. So Team Secret actually is really quite safe right now, honestly. It's difficult for APG to remove them, and now because they're close towards the center, APG has a big problem on their hands.
WizGod is peeked over the ridgeline and immediately is humbled on the peak. Doesn't go down though, which could be crucial. Go on a mad crash. Let's see if they can cling on, if the hooves have got enough grip to make it to somewhere, to anywhere that they can find. They've got to some trees, they got to a rock or two. Maybe they'll stay alive for just a moment longer. This fight in the compound just doesn't seem to want to conclude. OG,
nice.
To fully isolate. That's the nade they were looking for. That is what they wanted to find, and the first knock is finally going to come through.
Nice.
A second, a third as well. That's the off angle coming in, and it will be devastating for them. A fourth nade, maybe they'll find it. Reefus does go down in the meantime. Doc should be on picking that one up. That nade's going to go wide. Just the one player now left standing. Zyol spots him. The off angles do too. The Wolves are going to have a say.
I mean, Tanky's picking up points from the back of this as well over towards Team Secret. Again, it's not an easy nade to throw for Zyol. It really does quite take some precision. Doc makes that one look pretty easy though, but again, it's Doc. It's Doc, so we have to bow down and accept that. But for APG, 11 points on the game right now. This is way better from them, and you start to wonder if it's a case it was nerves going into the gauntlet there, where they were playing against some of the best teams in the world. I think that APG plays a lot better when they think that they're the big dogs in the lobby, which they certainly are here.
Seems so with the current situation. Coop's moving up really high up the mountain, getting that off angle, using the time available to him without that blue zone on the pressure. And yeah, WizGod, he's done and dusted, will be flushed out now. Wolves playing from that western side. They've been a little bit quieter than the other teams. They moved into their position early. You liked it, Blank. It seems like they felt it too. Coop's using this high ground to the best of his advantage whilst he still can, but needs to start to evacuate now. With the blue zone pushing through, that is going to be further down the hill for them to sink, and it's going to leave APG and Wolves, the only 4-player team, a couple of solos, and then OG on the 3-player miracle run.
For OG, they're already splitting though quite early. They do have the anchor in AKOP down the hillside. Chips is attempting to get as many points as possible off the back of this one, but for D+, it has been a little bit odd watching them, right? The aggression isn't there. They feel fairly weak in these team fights, which is so strange compared to the performance we've seen from them in the past. So yeah, I think D+ needs to find their footing once again, because at the moment this just isn't going to cut it.
North shift on the circle. I mean, this is OG with the majority of the land mass in this one. APG going to have to move north, and maybe D+ make it to third, you know, on this solo position with Chips.
I mean, this is kind of, in my mind, this is the big question for OG now, because this is probably the 5th time the circle has shifted towards them this game, and they have decent positioning in it. We've seen these types of circle shifts before for OG, and I think it's closing the match, which is still the thing that they are struggling to do here.
Oh, you can't let that happen as well. The solo position coming through from D+. That's going to split and really diminish this power, this position for OG. Aru kind of isolated up the top there. Needs to hop in the vehicle, drop a smoke, get some acceleration on the way down. But where do you go from there? You got to get into nade range of everything else. APG flexing out. Look at top move. He's going around the edge, and it's going to be all up to AKOP down on the low ground to stay alive for them.
Nice shot from Chips. Immediate response over towards top. I think there was a little bit of assistance coming through on the sidelines there.
No way.
And that's the... Again, they know that Chips is here.
That's crazy. That's crazy that Chips has been able to do that.
Yeah.
He was being allowed so much freedom on this north side. Taking down top as well on the approach. I mean, that slowed APG. The solo position now behind a tree is completely known. He's trying to drop these smokes and get a little bit safer. I don't think such a place exists.
Yeah. For APG, I think this is a win. It should be a win, right? For Wolves, if they're able to take the fight to APG, though, that is a massive thing for them. For Wolves, it will certainly put some confidence back in them, which I think they're absolutely lacking at the moment. I think that there's a lot of times where Wolves are even second guessing their own decisions that they make in these games, where two players will have a very different plan from one another. But this game feels a lot better in terms of that so far. I do think that the success they found from that mid game has really helped them, but Doc already finding that angle over towards Igor is pretty bad news. 12 elims so far for APG, and nade down the hillside to confirm this knock over towards Chips. He just about jumps out the way. Doc?
It's the buggy reposition.
Hello?
The nade is long. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Doc moves out as well. Chips finally goes down. It's Batten to be able to find that. So that is solidified. Doc is still alive. APG gonna have to move forwards a little bit with their off angles. This is a straight up 3v4 between these two teams now, as they were able to find one of the Wolves earlier.
Yeah, I mean, Doc just ran him over, by the way.
Yeah. Crack on, lad.
That's stylish. A little reverse from reverse.
Absolutely. Getting the tire blown out doesn't mean you can't look good. And he's going to slide into safety. Slide into home base. The Wolves now flexing back now. Trying to get a north side position. Remember, it closes dead center on this circle. And APG are going to move up to the ridge lines. There's this divot that sits in front of the Wolves. APG can't go full for it. I mean, especially can't, given the 14 nades on side for the Wolves. They've got a lot of utility, and APG, they need to place that one nade perfectly.
For APG, it is just one day they need, but I think they expended a lot of them over towards Team Secret earlier. Good shots over towards Wolves now have all been slammed into the same position. Top has all the angles that he might like, and Wolves again is just, I think they're trying to find safety in numbers, but what they need here is angles over towards APG, and they're unwilling to go for them. Baton just exposes himself there. Zol's immediately stepping up. Now just two players remaining. Coops would need two massive nades to finish from now. And it's definitely, it should be a 16 elim game here coming through for APG, barring some craziness from the Wolves.
You would think so. As they get that flush, they're up to 14 already. They're grouped up a little bit, and there's still a couple of nades left. They're all being unleashed now, though, and none of them really connecting. Doc a little bit further away than that. The bounce around the side. He just steps out in time. Doc just about in cover. He knows nades. He knows what's going on there. And there go the Molotovs, the utility. Xiol stepped up and does get taken down. Coops needs to commit to the heal right now, and there's no nades in response. There's still, no, they don't have any. It's only one nade on the Wolves' back pocket. That gets sent forwards towards top. Goes long. Coops forced into the trade. From the high ground, will not be needed. The backup not there. Thora behind the tree will get burnt away. And APG, I don't know if they got that last elim, but they were able to hold onto the zone, hold onto the game this time around. And it is a different team that we're seeing from the Gauntlets who've stepped into Group Green.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an APG fan, you're probably like both not surprised and quite annoyed, right? You're not surprised that APG is suddenly doing really well, and you're both kind of annoyed that they didn't play like this during the Gauntlet stage. Again, it is one of those moments though where that interview with Seven was actually very telling, where Doc admits a mistake, and I do think that this team almost required humbling within the Gauntlet. For them, it was more like the Forge. They were getting slammed by the hammer, and now they look sharper than ever coming into these group stages.
It is very, very nice stuff to see APG able to go the full distance there. It looked like Wolves had a pretty good game there too. Blank, their position on the western side of that circle, they held those compounds nicely, and they were able to transition fairly successfully. I think that OG maybe let it slip during that game as well. They didn't have the control from Everest that they wanted. They weren't able to inflict the damage that they needed.
Yeah, for Wolves, there's definitely that situation where you look at them and you can tell that there's still some floundering happening in those final game moments, whereas APG immediately had their plan and they stuck to it. So it's tough. I'd like to see what Max had to say about that APG win though, because he's probably quite happy about it.
We have the same circle as match number 2, and guess what? The same level of hype. This was a close one. Once again, we get Alpha Gaming going against Wolves in a 4v3, and I mean, at this point, Alpha Gaming were just unstoppable, Max.
The APG win is real!
Yeah!
It exists! Sorry, I had to pop off at one point because finally the APG prank is over, Hot Jukes. It happened! The Gauntlet is done.
Way too long.
Group
Way
3.
too long.
Yeah, and it's called the Group of Death because they are in the lobby. They're top here with a P90, able to put the nail in the coffin of Wolves. Really, really happy with the execution of this game. And I'm really happy to see the rotations later on of this game for APG Niptro because they saw that compound, they saw the circles like, samesies? We take good compound.
Yeah.
This time it's ours.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. I loved seeing different teams do the same things as other teams in match 2. Like OG, for instance, did the same sort of strat as AE. So that was really nice to see it go, oh, same circle. Let's do what we didn't, let's not do what we did last time and do what they did this time. And it was really, it worked. It worked a lot better. OG able to put up a really good fight there. But yeah, APG coming through. It was nice to see that they still got it. They still got it. Even, I mean, so many people were like, oh, nah, this is it, bro. This is it, right? And they came back and like, no, we know exactly what we're doing. We're still as good, and we're gonna show y'all.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. Maybe these guys just wanted a little piece of that group stage money. I don't know what it was, but Doc taking responsibility, and oh man, is it working now. Look at that, 967 damage, 5 eliminations. They take the most dominant compound in that circle. Max, man, I called it the second we saw that zone. I was like, that's the compound. That's going to be the team that wins, and what do you know it? APG take it, and it works for them.
Some people call that compound the Hot Jukes compound. It's history of Hot Jukes in that position, but no, that they take it very early on, and especially the nades, Niptro, we saw them throw onto Team Secret. They were playing the Ridge, were just so well executed from Xiol and Doc in particular. Very happy with it as we go through the replays, but damn, yeah, APG here, again, copying the early straps on some teams in the previous game, and here execute it to almost perfection. It was really, really good game from them.
Yeah, I loved what we saw from them coming in there. It was exactly what we wanted to see from Alter Ego in the last game, and they were able to just capitalize on that and actually make it work for them. Yeah, even better. Some awesome, crazy shots coming in through here, though. Like, all these headshots, long distance is insane. Krypton was insane. You can see,
Watch those
he
hands,
almost
baby.
had it.
Watch those hands.
It's so true, right? So true.
Oh
But
my
some
goodness.
really, really cool shots.
Yeah, beautiful shots indeed right there. Those nades, by the way, you know, we were talking about them earlier, right, from APG on the TS. I mean, they didn't waste any time, right? They were going to make sure that they took that team out there at the bottom of the hill, and that worked out for them. One thing I do want to mention, though, right, was how dominant this OG position was on the hill. But they were just so split and got picked apart one by one. Max, man, what do you think about that?
Look, I'm going to tell you the one thing that annoys me with Orangutan that I've mentioned it also during the Gauntlet stage. They are so good at taking positions like this. Like, they learned from the previous game, right? Jukes be like, wait, that was a really good position. The circle's the same. We're going to take it away from Alter Ego. And when they're in full control, they just decide to go for these splits, and they just give up a great potential finish over to another squad. It's a slight thing to adjust. If they do, I think we can finally see some big wins from Orangutan as we go through the replays here. And I want you all right now, Niptura, and everyone here, to pay attention to APG. They're like, oh, cross the bridge. Okay, we wait for phase 2. Oh, phase 2, we're chilling.
They froze it in, right? And they came back and like,
phase
no,
2 pops are like,
no, we know exactly what we're doing. We're still as good.
Yoink, it's ours. And same for Orangutan June, as you said, Niptura, the same play as Alter Ego. So teams are just like big deja vu
oh man,
on
is
that
it
phase 2
working
shift.
now? Look at that, 967 damage,
Wolves as
5
well, right?
eliminations.
Coming in
They
and going,
take the
hey,
most
that
dominant
compound was free.